NewsTribune sports writer Chris Yukas, and I'm here with NT sports editor Kevin Klum and sports writer Jared Bell. And today on NT Prep Preview, we're going to review last week's Prep Hoop postseason action. In small school hoops, both Putnam County and Fieldcrest saw their season come to an end at sectional.
Yeah, the Panthers were at their own sectional. I know they were hoping for 2 games in Granville, but they only got 1. They lost in the semifinals to Ridgeview. You know, they had a 14-game winning streak coming in. Putnam County did, but came to an end. They rallied in the fourth quarter, but just couldn't get over the hump. But it's still a good season for the Panthers.
Yeah, and another Class 2A action, the Fieldcrest Knights advanced to the sectional final matchup against Monmouth Roseville for the second straight year, but this time the Knights weren't able to survive their clash with the Titans. They fell 1 point, 39-38 in Farmington.
Yeah, well, it was also their Wednesday game. They're supposed to be their Wednesday game. They got moved to Thursday against Rock Ridge. It was a great game for theirs. Also another thriller, which Fieldcrest pulled it out at the end. So, you know, it kind of shows at that level in the postseason, the sectional play, anything can happen. There's no gimme games. And like I said, you saw a great game. I saw a great game. It's still a great season for Fieldcrest. And I'm not sure it's a season that people really expected after they lost so many players from last year.
Yeah, and after last year's double overtime win over Monmouth Roseville, there's getting to be quite a little postseason rivalry going there.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do it again next season, although Fieldcrest loses a lot, including Brady Sanders, the 2011-12 NewsTribune Player of the Year. So that's obviously a big shoes to fill for the Knights.
They got some young talent, though, so they probably will reload. Mendota's win over LP at the 3A Rock Falls Regional made the Trojans the area's last team standing. They'll head to the Bradley Sectional this week to take on Bartonville Limestone.
Yeah, that sectional is here in the middle of the week. Limestone is actually not the number 1 seed in their regional. They had an upset in the regional final. At the East Peoria Regional, they upset Washington. But Mendota is actually kind of the norm in this sectional. Is there's no number 1 seed from any regional of the 4 that advanced. So, you know, you would think it's a 4 seed in a regional. Mendota, upsetting Rock Falls, upsetting LP to get to the finals may not have the best of a chance. But none of these teams are supposed to be here. So you really would like to see how this would play out. You never know how things are going to work. They very well easily could have won or could win this regional or the sectional. Because last week, who would have expected that we were sitting here that Mendota was going to win the regional?
And the end of hoops means spring sports aren't far behind, as area baseball and softball teams have already begun preseason workouts for the season. And now, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, NT Prep Preview Powerhouse Players. Mr. Baker, that tape, sir?
Powerhouse Players of the Week.
Powerhouse Players of the Week.
Powerhouse Players of the Week. How's that?
Well, guys, our first NT Powerhouse Player of the Week is Mendota sophomore James Carroll. He had 22 points last week in Mendota's 2 upset wins. He had 22 points against Rock Falls, which is the number 1 seed in the regional. He had 22 points then again on Friday in the upset of LP. You really wouldn't expect that from a sophomore, given that he is really the only sophomore that plays, and the other 4 seniors on the team that play are starters. So this doesn't show you, basically your doesn't matter. If you're a good player, you're a good player, and he shows it. And he definitely showed it last week.
Moving from sophomore to a senior, Brett Fanning from Hall. He's been on here before, but this time it's for his 3-point shooting ability. He advanced a state 3-point competition for the 2nd time in his career, and he really had a battle to get there. He went into the tiebreaker, tied the first tiebreaker, and the second tiebreaker he made 10 out of 10, so you can't really beat that. So he made his way.
You're telling me Brett Fanning can shoot? Stop the presses. I did not know that.
Yep, so he'll be shooting this weekend in Peoria.
And last but not least, we have Mendota senior Trey in full Bloomhorst. The Trojan big man had 15 points and 10 rebounds in the regional final to help the Trojans to their championship win over LP.
Yeah, it was the most wins that Mendota has had since about 1996. The win in the regional final got them to 19 wins, so a very historic season in more ways than just the regional title.
Yeah, their first regional title this century, so
yeah.
Big deal for the Trojans. Thanks for watching NT Prep Preview, and check us out next week at www.newstrib.com/sports.